Well, good evening, Panther fans, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Lee Doty Coaches Show, brought to us by Prime Star Home Health. I'm Ben Hackler here with Sterlington Panther head coach Lee Doty. Coach, how you feeling tonight?
Oh, man, just got a little wet out here today. Good rain came in, so glad to be somewhere dry.
Yeah, that practice schedule ended right on time. Little rumble of thunder, and you guys were awful there.
Great timing today.
Love it when a plan comes together. Well, Coach, Week 9 is here. And before we talk about the Bastrop game this last week, I know that you and your staff, your players, you guys have been grinding all summer long into the fall now. And it feels like we just got started on some ways, and now we sit 2 games off of the end of the schedule. And every year you tell your seniors, hey, guys, it's going to go fast. And my daughter's a senior this year. Madison told me the other day, Dad, I can't believe that we're already at the end of this thing. And so at this point, I'm thinking about all the hours you guys have put in. How do you help your coaches and your team get rested and not give in to the grind, and then just staying focused on the things that are in front of you?
Well, I think that's an excellent question. And, one of the things that we've done here lately and, basically since I've been here is, when you get a chance to take some time off, I insist that you take some time off. Whether it's our players trying to rest them for a day or our coaches, if we get a 3-day weekend, if we play on Thursday, I don't want to see you guys here till Sunday evening, take Friday and Saturday off and be with your family and, just getting those times when you can get away from work. And, like I said, it's been good for us to make sure those coaches get that time away. And, the players need that to rejuvenate too. And I think that's one of the reasons why when we get to the playoffs, we're usually fresh.
Right.
And, you're cutting back on practice time some at this point in time of the year. I mean, if you ain't got it figured out by now, you're not going to.
Yeah.
And you're only working on your specials and the other stuff that you're going to put in and staying sharp on fundamentals. So, not being out there for 3 hours this time of the year,
Right.
you're just not doing yourself any favors. So all those things come into play at this time of the year and trying to keep you guys fresh.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, congrats last week on the big win. The Bastrop Rams came over, and you guys dominated start to finish. 54-6 was the final there. And haven't had a little time to look back. And before asking you specific questions, kind of just give us your initial thoughts looking back.
Well, I thought our guys did a good job. I thought our coaching staff did a great job of making sure our kids were ready to play, from the onset. And, we didn't have to get hit in the mouth or give up a touchdown or fumble the football to get started. And I thought they had a great game plan and did a good job of getting our kids ready to play. And I thought the kids went out and executed and, got us to a running clock and, where we can get some young kids in. So it's always a good thing.
Yeah, one of the things I've heard you say and other coaches say throughout the years is when you're a good team, you want to take care of business. Good teams don't struggle against a lesser opponent. It seems like the last few weeks you guys have been able to do that.
Yeah, we have. We've done a good job of coming out and taking care of business. And, the things that you want to do, JV football is over. Been over for a couple of weeks. When you get a chance to get up on some guys and get your young kids in, to me that's what builds your program. You can
Right.
play all the JV you want to, but when you can get your kids in on a Thursday or Friday night varsity game, those kids get in and get to play those minutes. That's what keeps them coming back. And, it's good to see some of those young kids, some of those what I call program kids, get out there and have some success. So, that's important to me.
Yeah, well, and I know for William and I, we hear from those young kids when they get in and have big runs like Christian Mott, Xavier Strohmile.
Right.
They want to hear that on the call. They want to hear their names and their touchdowns. And so it's good for us and for them both to get a little love on Friday nights.
Absolutely. And, with our live stream, they'll watch it 20 years from now
doubt.
if they want to.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's important to build your program up. And, I know I've been through this with you. When you have a struggling program and you have a chance to play some young kids and you don't, sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, maybe that's when we're struggling. Maybe get your young kids out there. We put our young kids in, put your young kids in, and let them go at it for a while. So I think it's been great for us.
Well, Coach, defensively, it was another great night for your team, and you guys gave up 175 yards or 74 yards of total offense. And it seems like that unit really has grown over the course of the season. Who really has stood out to you on that side of the football? I mean, we know names like Trey Birch and Connor Justice have been two key for you. But anybody else that you say, hey, these guys have really grown over the course of the last 9 weeks?
I think, and I bring these guys up a lot, but it's hard not to when you watch film. Our defensive ends are played lights out most of the year, and Stephen English, Cam Bagwell, and Tanner Kane's starting to play some more for us, and he's doing a real good job. Ashton Bradford's coming in and playing. So we got 4 guys that are playing at a high level. I think mainly our defensive line is playing really good, and doing a good job. Breland Davis is a guy that, Coach Carter brags on a lot. He said, Breland's growing up. He's beginning to be the guy that we need him to be. And, Silas Ashley, there's a freshman. It's just a phenomenal job that he's doing. So those guys are doing real good. Our secondary still, we're kind of getting a work in progress. And, we're playing so many guys back there. And, to me, we still got to get better in the back end if we're going to win this whole thing. But very happy with those guys.
Yeah, that defensive line, especially that front 4, we've seen a lot of guys. Usually it's on offense. We start seeing some guys get in on that offensive line. But your defensive line, you've had a pretty good rotation this year the last several weeks with Jacoby Robinson and, of course, Blake Franklin kind of anchoring that whole deal down for you. But,
Blake can play both inside positions, and Jacoby Robinson's another freshman who's getting a lot of time in there. Ladarius Washington has really come on, and, he's a guy that we hadn't planned on getting a whole lot of snaps earlier this year, but he gets more and more every week. So we got some young guys in there we feel really good about. So, and we got some young linebackers. Jet Johnson, who's on all of our special teams, and maybe our leading tackler on special teams, does a great job. It's getting better and better at linebacker. So, not only we're doing pretty good, but the future is going to be bright, even though we're going to be extremely young on defense next year.
Well, and I think about a guy like Jet Johnson. You talk about the special teams. That's really where Cam Bagwell made his name. Before we ever talked about him at the defensive line or defensive end, it was kickoffs and punt returns where he was making a name for himself, and maybe Jet will be the next one in that line.
Well, he reminds me of him, with his speed and everything as a young guy. So, hopefully that comes to fruition. I'd love to have a bunch of Cam Bagwells on defense.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, offensively, from a total number of plays kind of standpoint, it was a kind of a short night for them. I didn't total it all up, but I think less than 30 plays is what you guys ran. But you accumulated 509 yards of offense, 8 touchdowns, and really was pretty balanced. 4 rushing touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns. And as you look back at that, what stood out to you for your offense?
Yeah, I believe we run 28 plays, I believe is what it was. It was 6 out of 8 passing for 140 yards, right? 4 touchdowns. It hadn't been a lot of times that we've sat in here and said that.
That's right.
So we are real happy. We're able to get to throw the ball last week and work on that. And we've done that the last several weeks, trying to get ready for the playoffs and ready for some of the tougher games we've got at the end of our schedule. So it was good to see Devin get loose. I thought J-Rob made a great play on the first pass to Devin across the middle there. He was under severe pressure. We missed a block, turned the wrong way. Just a good throw down there. And Devin, made some contested catches. So, anyway, it was good to see. And, we ran the ball. TJ ran the ball really well. David Hickman, just another good night. Whenever he touches the ball, good things happen. So, just exciting to see our guys get out there and get after it.
Yeah, I think Hickman ended up with 4 carries for like 116 yards and a couple touchdowns. That's not a bad night.
No, it's a good night.
For sure. Well, Coach, let's talk about that offensive line, though, because really that's where it all opens up. And the pass blocking is still kind of a work in progress, but getting better at that. But since when we run the ball the last few weeks, those guys have really come together. We talked about that rotation on defense, but let's talk about the rotation on offense for a moment. That offensive line, you've got some young guys like Mason Lingfeld, Sterlington coming in that mix. What does that rotation of linemen do for you in terms of play calling and your approach to each week?
Well, I think Larry and Dave has done a great job with their offensive line, and Bobby's kind of, taking the opportunity to put some new stuff in for us offensively because our line is kind of flexible with that, and we can play a lot of guys. But, we had a big concern at center coming in, and Luke Crane, and, he's done a great job for us in there at center. And, so Cam Ruggs also played some center, has done a good job. And, of course, our seniors, you got Gideon in there, Dawson, you got Whitlock, that's kind of anchoring that thing. They've been there, done that, But our young guys have done a really good job. Tucker Sturdivant's now playing some tight end. You had a touchdown catch last week. And Lingfeld's got a chance to be one of the best ones that's ever come through here. And I hate to put that on him as a freshman, but, I mean, he's got it. You know, Sam's playing a lot. Jansen's playing a lot there. And, you know, moving people around. Seth Deer's another senior is getting a lot of playing time. So we're playing, you know, 8 or 9 guys in there. And, you know, different sets and different formations, let those guys get in and get some playing time. So they're doing a good job over there.
Yeah, and Coach, a lot of times I think about a basketball team, when you've got a second set of 5 that can come in and take the heat off of your starters, it seems like offensively you're able to do that with some of your guys. If somebody gets nicked, not necessarily injured, but just needs a breather, you've got some guys that you can put in there. And getting this late in the season, that's got to be an attribute that you want to have for every team that you ever put on the field.
Yeah, you know, we talked earlier in the year about being able to build depth. And, you know, early we thought maybe our depth would come from the offensive line, would be the defensive line, you know, and have to switch over. But, you know, we've had some young guys that stepped up and done a really good job. So excited about, you know, we got some big kids in the 9th grade, some really good offensive linemen. We got a chance to be good right there for a while.
Yeah, and you talk about being young next year. Having those big bodies on both sides of the football, it seems like you can, especially offensively, skill guys come in and they don't have to be 5-star athletes because of the scheme that we run. There's going to be some good athletes that are going to make good plays for you because of the line that you have.
Yeah, we hope that's how it works out. You know, we really do. Hope we can keep our guys here and, you know, keep, like I said, we always worry about people leaving because, you know, you don't get to play as much as you want to. You take your ball and go somewhere else. And we've done a really, really good job of keeping our kids here the past couple of years. So hopefully we can keep that freshman class together. Well,
Coach, I'm a little biased, but I'd always be asking the question, why would you want to go anywhere else? Seems like you guys are in the mix year in and year out to play for what everybody wants to play for when it comes to December.
Well, I don't know, but, I mean, you know, I understand that a kid only has 4 years to play
That's
high
right.
school ball. And if you're not getting to play and you can go down the road and play, I get that and I understand, you know. And we have some that have decided to do that, and they went in other places and they've done well. And but, you know, we feel like we got a great program here. And, you know, we have a lot of kids that would love to be here.
Right.
You know, and so – therefore, you got to think we got some kids here that would rather be there, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast right now. So we do understand it, though. You get a chance to play, you need to go, and you need to do that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, congrats on that big win against Bastrop. It makes you guys undefeated in district now. And we're not going to take a break tonight. We're going to roll right on into to this week with Carroll. And you guys have taken care of business. Carroll has taken care of business. And we're going to have a matchup down there on Renwick Avenue on Halloween night and for the district championship. This will be the last. Well, I think Carroll's got one more district game after this, but at least a share of the district championship on the line for both teams. The district championship, we talked about this year in and year out, and I just want you to remind people, like the reality is that it still matters to your team, right?
It does to us. I mean, you know, I told our kids the other day if it didn't matter, we wouldn't get a trophy.
Right.
And so district championships do matter for us. And here at Sterlington, you know, I used to get an extra point if you won the district championship. And, you know, that doesn't happen anymore. But it still means a lot to our kids and to this community to go and try to win a district championship. And I'm going to tell you this, if you don't think it means anything to Carroll to beat us for the district championship, then you might not want to show up Friday night because, I mean, they're going to be ready and fired up and can't wait to play us. Yeah,
well, and you look back over the course of history, of course, Sterlington moves into this district in 2017. You've won 7 of the 8 possible district championships, and so there has to be a little bit of a chip on Carroll's shoulders because the word was coming in 2017, and they have been playing hard and have had some big wins. They're 4-3, 2-0 in district play. They're coming off of a bye week, and so they've had 2 weeks to get ready for this matchup. And as you look at them and think about, they mentioned, I saw an article, they're getting healthier. What do you see from them, and what do you expect when we show up down there on Friday night?
Well, I think Levi was a very good hire. You know, I've enjoyed being around Levi since I've been here. You know, he's been 2 or 3 different places. We actually reached out to him this year about maybe taking an assistant job here, and you know, I think a lot of him. I think he's a really good football coach. He's got them playing extremely hard, and you can tell he's got some young kids in places, but you know, he lost some kids to transfers when the coach change happened, but he's done a really good job of keeping that program together and getting it on the right track and going in the right direction. You know, I think I maybe talked to you earlier in the week about the quarterback and running back. Those guys can run.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of trying to get them guys in position in open field. So we're definitely going to have a work cut out for us.
Well, Coach, they do come in with that kind of that spread team, but still like to run the football out of the spread. And so what do you see from their offense, and then how do you have your defense attack that this week?
Well, they want to run the football. I mean, they're about 80% run overall. And, they want to get the run started. They do a lot of pulling. They run a lot of, gas and traps and counters and quarterback powers and, zone reads. They do a lot of those type of things. And they're trying to get those two athletes they got in space. And, we're going to have to be able to read our keys again this week and, go make the tackles. That's the thing you worry about with these backs they got is, you may be in a perfect position, but can you tackle them? And we got to make sure we tackle them. When they do throw the ball, they got number 2. He's about a 6'4", 6'5" looking guy, and he can go up and get it. And number 1's another speedster. They come in 4 and 11, all can run. They got guys who can run, and they always have. Big guys up front, so it'll be a challenge. But I think our defense will be ready and full tilt when we get ready to play them.
Coach, as you say that, I was thinking about some of the football that I've watched. Us playing on Thursday nights this year a few times has allowed me to watch some games on Friday night of other teams. And one of the things I've noticed about teams like a Carroll, even a Richwood, teams with a lot of speeds, really good athletes at skill positions, it seems like the tackling has been the key. We're seeing a lot of across the board for teams. A lot of kids come in throwing a shoulder but not bringing their arms. How do you coach your kids up to go ahead and you can make the big hit, but bring those arms with them?
Well, we have a little bit of a problem with that ourselves. We're trying to go for the knockout blow and instead of wrapping up and just form tackling. But I think if you watch NFL on Sunday, they're missing tackles.
Yeah.
They're trying for the kill shots. College football, they're playing flag football out there, a lot of people, and not tackling. So I just think it's just part of football now that, it's either big hit or nothing, and – or you can grab them by the jersey, and we go tackling drills every day, even when we're not in pads. We do some type of tackling drill. But I'm not sure you can teach a guy how to tackle, but I don't think you can make a guy tackle. I mean, I think the dude's either going to tackle or he ain't. And I've been watching some college ball, and I don't get to watch much NFL, but it's a lot of business decisions being made out there, and I think it trickles down. Right. I really do.
Yeah. Well, Coach, let's talk about their defense for a moment. They have played teams that are a lot like them, a lot of spread. Of course, we have some spread packages, but I would not say that that's our identity. We really still like the full house backfield. And with our offense, what do you expect from them defensively, knowing they haven't seen much of what we do?
Well, I mean, the defense coordinator they have was the defense coordinator they had in 23. I'm not real sure if he was there last year or not, but I know he was there in 23. And, they ran some stuff that West Monroe had done against us. They used some of that against us. I figure we're going to get some 5-3 and some 4-2-5 fronts. Their defensive line is very active. They do a good job. They do a lot of slanting, and the one thing I notice is they line up right. I mean, they're always lined up the way they're supposed to be. So, their linebackers run downhill and try to fit. Secondary, if there was a spot that maybe we have a chance to do some things in, it's probably in the secondary. But first of all, you got to get past that defensive line, and they're pretty salty right there.
Well, Coach, where will we see some things that you guys have said, hey, this is where we can have some success against those schemes?
Well, I think, with the speed we have, and this is going to sound funny when you play in Carroll, but if we can get to the edge, we got a chance to make some big plays. Xavier is a guy that, we got to get going this week, I think. And, I said that about Devin last week, and he had 4 touchdowns. So, put it on Xavier. He's a guy that, once he gets out in the open, he's going to be hard to bring down. And we got to get him going and get some big plays out of him. We got to keep Hickman rolling, and we're going to have to throw the ball. We're going to have to throw the ball 10 to 12 times. So just to get them to back up off of us, because I think they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Coach, it will be a big night down there on Halloween night down on Renwick, and so good luck against the Carroll Bulldogs and hopefully for the 8th district championship in the last few years. And I want to give you just one more question before we wrap things up. And I know you don't like to look ahead and all those things, but I do. With 2 games remaining, the PowerPoint rankings are beginning to take shape. We're beginning to kind of get an idea of what's going on. I think currently we sit at the 3, and you and I talked this afternoon that there's still some movement up, down. We're not sure how it's all going to shake out. But as you guys have looked at all of that, probably a lot of our fans probably don't even know the divisions gets all confusing for everybody. But who are
Me
some
too.
of the – no doubt. Who are some of the teams that would kind of, as we look into the playoffs, that hey, you need to have your eye on these guys? There's probably be some guys that we're going to get some competition out of.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure we can move up. I think we'll be 3 or lower. I just don't see how we're going to move up. I think we missed our opportunities when we didn't beat Ouachita or Neville. If we'd beat either one of those guys, we probably would be number 1. But that didn't happen, so I don't think we can move up. But I think it's a possibility we can move back some. And that's okay, too, because you got to beat somebody to win a state championship. Yeah. So I understand that. You know, Gina's having a great year, and of course, St. James is right in there. You got Erath and Kinder that are all right in there together with us. But, when I look down the line, some of the teams that I worry about, if you think you're going to get Union Parish in the playoffs and you're going to get a free pass, then you're wrong.
Right.
Once the playoffs start, something happens to those guys. Oak Grove is quietly sitting there at 6-2. And this is a down year for them, everybody says, but they're sitting there at 6-2. Yeah. And they're going to get somebody fits, especially if you end up having to go to Oak Grove. That's a hard place to win. So there's several teams just, in our area right here that's still going to have a chance. I look at I'm trying to figure out like Westlake.
Right.
Westlake's sitting there at 15-16, but if you look at their games, they played everybody close. I mean, they just played Lake Charles College Prep, to a couple touchdowns this week, who's, a chance to win it in their district, division. So, you worry about those guys that you may catch in the second round, right? And they ruin your season for you. But it's some contenders in there for sure. And I was telling Larry the other day, Richwood's kind of hovering around in there. You better watch out, catch them guys. They hurt your feelings. So, plenty of teams in there who can advance this year and make a run. But I think you got to think 1 and 2 seeds, St. James and Gina are definitely the favorites right now.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we will head down to Carroll this Friday night, 7:00. And Panther fans, if you can't make it, you can catch us right here on YouTube or join us on the radio at 92.3 FM The Ranch. We'll have a replay of this coach's show about 6:15, and then William and I, actually Coach Magoo and I, will join a pregame show about 6:45, get you set for kickoff right at 7:00. Coach, I'll give you the final word before we sign off.
Well, it should be a great atmosphere down there. I know our fans will do their part. I don't know if I've ever played on Halloween night. You got to think over the course of times we have. But it's going to be interesting going down there for Halloween. And I know Soji's tore up because she don't get to hand out candy, but she's going to have it in the stand.
That's what I've heard. There was rumors.
If you need to, get you a Twix bar, go down and see her. So, but anyway, we look forward to having you guys there. And as always, go Panthers.
All right, Panther fans, that's going to do it for the Prime Star Home Health Coaches Show. We hope that you have a good week, and we look forward to seeing you Friday night for Panthers versus Bulldogs.
Choose Prime Star Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. Prime Star Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care. Choose Prime Star Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. Prime Star Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care.
Come, visit McDonald Land this summer and try Grimace Island's newest thick volcanic shake. So, get the new Mount McDonald Land shake with one of 6 souvenirs when you order the McDonald Land meal.
Sustaining a brain injury due to someone else's negligence is devastating. Downs Law Firm can't change what happened, but they will fight to hold those at fault accountable and aggressively negotiate with insurance to recover fair compensation.
Craftsman Federal Credit Union, serving our members with their financial needs. Waiting for interest rates to fall? Why wait? Craftsman Federal Credit Union can get you in the vehicle you want today at rates where you can enjoy the ride. Become a member today and see the difference at Craftsman Federal Credit Union, with 2 locations to serve you in Bastrop and Sterlington, or visit us at craftmanfcu.com. Local people helping local people since 1953.
Around here, family is more than just a last name. It's who you show up for. For generations, the Compton family and Architects Windows and Doors has stood by this community with honesty, hard work, and a handshake you can trust. Because every window we design, every door we assemble, isn't just about your house. It's about your home. Family owned, community rooted, Architects Windows and Doors, a family business built for your family.
Marion State Bank, rooted in education and athletics. Marion State Bank is committed to investing in the future through scholarships, sponsorships, and community support. We're empowering students and athletes to dream big and achieve more, because their success is our success. Investing in our future, supporting education and athletics. Marion State Bank, rooted in community, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Panther fans, and welcome to tonight's matchup between the Sterlington Panthers and the Carroll Bulldogs. I'm Ben Hackler here with Coach, I almost called you Ian Magoo, Greg Magoo. Without William, I'm lost, Greg. It happens. But welcome into the McDonald's broadcast of Panther football. Radio sponsorship brought to us by Domino's Pizza of Sterlington. It's a great, cool night here at Carroll High School as football weather is settling in. We don't want to say that too loud to make the weather run, but it's a nice, cool night down here at Carroll. Coach, it's good to have you with me tonight. Appreciate you filling in for William. William's on the road watching Luke play some football this weekend.
Fantastic, man. I'm so glad to be here. I'm always willing to help when I can. I know that Ian is proud of the plug you just gave him, but he's not able to make it tonight, but he's going to be checking in on us tonight. Absolutely.
Well, we are excited to be here. It is a big ball game as we are for Sterlington. It's the last week of the district schedule for them. I think Carroll's got to take on Richwood next week. But for all intents and purposes, this is the district championship match tonight. Both teams come in undefeated, and Sterlington's been riding a little bit of a win streak since the loss there at Neville, but been having some good success. And then Carroll comes in; they're kind of riding the high, they're undefeated in district and looking good.
They are, and it's always good to have your last home game here. And, of course, do they play at Richwood or do they play here?
I'm not even sure.
This is senior night here, so I'm assuming this is probably their last home game. So, yeah, things are going to be riding high. They're going to be ready. We better come in ready to play. I know we've had a tough schedule and played some big boys early in the year that kind of got us ready for this stretch run of the season. And tonight's a big game. We want to go ahead and take control early if we can and win this district championship and then go on the road next week and get ready for this playoff run.
Yeah, look at it. Carroll the last few weeks, been able to put up some points. They played actually last week they were off. They had a bye week. Prior to that, they played Bastrop and North Webster, and I believe gave up maybe one touchdown to Bastrop, shut North Webster out. And so defensively, looking for the Bulldogs to really kind of get after the Panthers tonight. And then on the flip side of that, Sterlington's kind of had its way offensively and defensively with their last two opponents, which would again be Bastrop and North Webster. Of course, Panthers were didn't have a bye week last week, got a win at home against Bastrop, and that sets up tonight's matchup. I asked Coach Doty about that, and Coach, you've been doing this a long time. The bye week, Coach Doty's a little different than some folks. He doesn't want that bye week.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends on how your roster looks. You know, how healthy are you, how deep are you, and things like that. I know that when somebody is going to play us being the Panthers, I really feel like because we can throw so much at them from the veer standpoint, we will run some spread stuff from time to time. But for the most part, we're going to run the football out of the veer and triple option, and teams need time to prepare for that. So I think the bye should help. Carroll, and preparing to give us a different look, and maybe, get 2 or 3 days each week to really look at what we do individually while we're, game planning. They probably could have come put their eyeballs on us last week, and I'm sure that they did. So that they'll be ready tonight. And I look for this to be a very tough ball game early on, and hope we can establish what we want to establish.
Yeah, for the Panthers this year, traditionally the I formation has been kind of the bread and butter, and still I think it's what we're probably most comfortable with. But we have seen what we've called the Navy or the full house backfield a lot. And then I would think, I haven't checked a lot of the stats on this, and you probably know better than I do, but we've also, I think, shown a little more spread than what we have in the past. But there's no doubt that for Sterlington, we want that fullback kind of leading the way.
Well, we're so good up front each year. I mean, and it's not just the personnel. It's also the coaching and the philosophy behind it. And Larry Foster and Bobby Breen, they do such a good job, and the other offensive coaches. But those two guys in particular, Bobby's done a fantastic job over the years, was a quarterback in this system, and Larry was an O-line guy and this stuff. And they know what we want to do, and they teach their kids so well. So we know where to fit in certain packages, and DeVere is very difficult to stop if you don't see it a lot, and it's something that you don't see a whole lot these days. Yeah. People play in space, so it takes a mindset to play defense against what we like to do. So you want to check their oil, so to speak, and never get away from the veer. But the multiple sets that we're doing now, the different looks, is really putting some teams in a bind.
Yeah, especially when you start seeing us have success in all those sets. A lot of times we've seen teams, and I even think about Sterlington historically. There was at least one big change in the offensive scheme back in the early, probably 2010, that little window, that the Panthers kind of went to a totally different scheme away from the run game, tried to open things up, and with a culture that was built around the run, kind of caused some things. We had different formations but weren't successful at them. But now looking at the last 2 years and the different formations, the different personnel, starting to find some success really just in everything we do.
Well, I am the athletic director and the middle school football coach, and we do a lot of our run game, out from underneath center, and we do a lot of it out of the gun, and that gives our kids a chance, the opportunity to know that we're just not going to sit there in that I formation and come downhill and try to big boy other schools. The teams we play on that level are physically better than us a lot of times, but we get some advantages by doing different multiple sets, and I see the advantage of what our guys are doing up here. I keep going back to last year's playoff run when we came out of nowhere and ran the Navy formation that you had talked about, and you could see the confusion on the other sideline. Like they know, said, "Oh my goodness!" It was a moment where they saw the light and they're like, "We're in trouble," because we hadn't even talked about this stuff.
Right. Yeah, it really was last year, that moment, and I believe it was up at Oak Grove. It was one of those things where it was like, what did we just see? And I know even for William and I have the chance sometimes during the week to go by and to catch glimpses of some things, the wrinkles guys are throwing. But that wasn't a wrinkle. It was like a whole new wardrobe.
Well, it was, and we had the opportunity based on our schedule last year to be able to work on it several weeks in advance. And we didn't just come out and let's try this, how it works. We had worked on it, for several weeks, and we looked really good at it. And the boys were excited about it. And when you got your team believing in what you're doing and your coaches are, putting together a good plan, there's a lot of confidence, and we needed it at that time of the year. We went on that run.
Yeah.
It was a real special run. So.
Yeah, well, Coach, tonight as we kind of get into this, we've seen a lot of freshmen this year kind of getting some playing time, and that hasn't been always the case. We may have had one freshman here or maybe another, two at the most, but this year in some key places, specifically on the offense and defensive line, some of those guys that you coached a year ago are now consistent stays on Friday nights. I think about Silas Ashland, defensive line. You go to the offensive side, and you've got Tucker Sturtevant and Mason Lingfeld, and then I'm sure I'm leaving somebody. Austin Hill's getting good reps at some H-back and mop-up duty at quarterback. Talk about those guys, and just what did you guys know that was probably what was coming? I know they were some guys that were a little bit older in the 8th grade, but –
it's one of them deals where you really know what you're going to get till you get into it. Now, we knew that, the LHSA made some rule changes where you could now hold back in middle school and not prior to the middle school years. And what that does is when you get a kid for 3 years and he decides to hold back in his 8th grade year, well, now you've got him 4 years. And, if you're doing our due diligence like we try to do at our middle school, we wait in strength and condition, and we teach what we teach, and we try to teach high school stuff. And some of these kids are, first of all, they're just good athletes, and they're good kids. Yeah. So we didn't coach these dudes to what they are. It does help.
Don't give you that much credit.
Don't give me that much credit. These are fantastic kids, and they learn every day, and they're leaders on the field. And all these big dudes I like to call them with their hands on the ground. They get around, and it's a lot easier when you've got the size. But, one of the kids you didn't mention, I know it wasn't on purpose, but, Brock Sutton, dude, he made a big play early in the year against Tioga. Right there before the half, we were struggling. And he popped the kickoff in the last play of the half and kind of got our momentum, and we went on and took care of business that way. But there's a lot of kids that are playing. I've seen the defense have 3 to 4 starters, that are freshmen, and they are older kids, so it helps. But I'm going to tell you, it's really fun to look out there and see them playing so early because it's just going to bode well for the future with all the experience they're getting.
Absolutely. It definitely has been a year where we've gotten to see a lot of those guys. And a lot of times with the young guys, you don't see them unless the game gets out of hand one way or the other. But these are guys that we've talked about already. You can talk about Brox. Brox has returned up in Tioga week 1. And you're right. We're probably going to look back on that moment in week 1, especially as the power points begin to shake out. That win is getting larger and larger because Tioga's going on a little roll here and picked up several more wins that we just didn't know what Tioga really had. And but I'm with you. I think that play by the freshman on that kickoff is probably going to be one we look back on and say, man, that was a moment that we got some points there that we didn't know we were going to need.
As coaches, they're just not up here calling plays. They're trying to look ahead and think back, what did we do, what do we need to do? And possessions are a big part of big ball games. The more possessions you have, obviously the more chance you have to score, but also the more possessions you have, other teams do get possessions, obviously, because you're going to flip it right back over to them. So the numbers game, but you're just limiting explosive offenses. Like there's a lot of teams on our schedule that's just explosive.
Yeah.
Not that we're not, but we would like to control the pace of the game and the flow of the game way more than some of our competitors. So when you can control the football like that, it really helps.
Yeah. Well, Panther fans, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll get back as the Panthers are going to make their way to the sideline. Carroll's wrapping up senior night. But we'll step away for 2 minutes, and we'll be right back with more of the pregame show in just a moment.
For over 50 years, Cartown has been servicing Northeast Louisiana, and the Sterlington Panthers have been a huge part of our growth. And for that, Cartown Tires and Service would like to say, go Panthers!
Choose Prime Star Home Health. We'll provide the best care for your patient or loved one. From managing chronic conditions to wound care and therapy, we specialize in a wide range of services. Prime Star Home Health. We have the skill to heal and the spirit to care. Choose.
Repair it, catch up on bills, or replace it. Turn your home's equity into endless possibilities with a home equity line of credit from Cross Keys Bank. I'm Lee Riordan, Senior Vice President and Market Manager. Stop by and visit me today at our Sterlington branch for more details. Or give me a call at 665-4511. Cross Keys Bank, proud supporter of the Sterlington Panthers. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Fence Depot uses quality materials and has the expertise to give you the best service with the best price. They take pride in offering their customers a full selection of fencing options. For chain link, ornamental, vinyl, wildlife, and more, try Fence Depot in West Monroe. 318-331-4457. Fence Depot.
Panther fans, welcome back into the pregame show. Panther football here at Carroll High School tonight as the Panthers get set for their last district matchup on the schedule. And tonight for the district championship, of course, one game left. Next Thursday night, Union will make the trip over to Sterlington at Dale Ashley Field on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And that game, though, no longer a district game. That they have Union has dropped into, this is going to be a little confusing, dropped into 2A last year. But they do remain in the Division III non-select playoffs, and so there's a pretty good chance that we'll turn around and see Union again in a few weeks during the playoffs. But I asked Coach Doty that question about the districts and the divisions, Greg, and it was one of those things he's like, man, I don't even understand it.
Man, it's addition by
subtraction. I'm not sure anybody does. So we'll play whoever's in front of us, and lots of the PowerPoint stuff is beginning to kind of shake out, and we'll kind of have to wait and see how those things do. What we really got to see from the Panthers this week and next is just take care of what you can take care of. I love hearing coaches like you, Coach Doty, saying you got to control what you can control. We can't control everybody else's schedule. We can't control everybody else's wins and losses, but we can control what we do.
Well, and that's the whole deal. That's it's cliche. You say it all the time, but if you really buy into that and the kids buy into it, then they got something they can hang their hats on, and they know that they can control how games turn out if they control themselves. So.
Yeah, well, Panther fans, let me quickly give you the Panthers starting lineup. I'll give you the offense, and we'll flip over to the defense real quickly, and then we'll continue to work our way towards kickoff. starting lineup for the offense tonight for your Panthers. At the tackles, number 69, Dawson Ferguson, and number 62, Gideon Ashley. The guards, number 55, Drew Whitlock, and number 68, Cam Rugg. At center, number 54, Luke Crane. The tight end tonight should be number 86, Tucker Sturdivant. And at wide receiver, number 1, Devin Downs, and number 18, Noah Crane. At tailback, number 14, Shamarian Dismuke. And, of course, the big fullback, number 6, TJ Birch. And as each week we've seen, your quarterback, number 7, J-Rob Breen. On the defensive side of the football, defensive ends, number 11, Stephen English, number 9, Cam Bagwell. At the tackles, number 90, Silas Ashley, and number 93, Blake Franklin. Linebackers, there'll be 3 on the field at some point, but all 4 will play tonight. Number 23, Trey Birch, who leads that unit. Number 30, Kason Huggins. Number 33, Connor Justice. And number 47, Drew Voker. At the corners, number 5, Jalen Bush. Number 4, David Hickman. And the safeties, number 2, Sam Frazier. And number 8, Keenan Green. That's the starting lineup for the Panthers tonight. We'll see a host of other Panthers in the mix, as we talked about a moment ago. Sterlington really fortunate this year to get to make use of a lot of different personnel. And so looking forward to that. Looks like we're going to make our way to the national anthem, I believe, or we may see coin toss up. Actually, going to be coin toss first. The coin toss tonight brought to us by Jim Taylor Chevrolet of Rayville. Well, it looks like I thought national anthem and prayer would be first. Looks like the White Hats looking up here. Your captains for the Panthers tonight, number 55, Drew Whitlock, number 69, Dawson Ferguson, and number 33, Connor Justice.
And number 79, Jordan Holmes.
Of course, the two team captains tonight, that rotates each week with different seniors. But Drew Whitlock has been the weekly third man out there, and so he's out there with Connor and with Dawson. And I'm not sure what the strategy is on all that, but
I don't either, but I do know this. I know Mr. Whitlock, man, I coached him all the years at the middle school, and from a 6th grader, he was a big part of what we did. And so I just knew there was something special about him, the way he could learn and the way he played the game in multiple positions. I knew that once he got up to the high school level that he was going to find his niche, and he sure has.
Yeah, done a great job anchoring that offensive line. Of course, some big seniors there with him, along with the freshmen are getting to play. And I think that's important for the development of a program, is when you have some upperclassmen leading some younger underclassmen, and those guys get to work together and learn from the best. Coach Foster does a great job of getting those guys ready week in and week out. And but having those upperclassmen to help out is a big thing. Panthers have won the toss and will defer to the second half. So Carroll will receive the football in just a moment. Panther fans, again, you're listening to the McDonald's broadcast of Panther football. If you're joining us on 92.3 FM The Ranch, that radio broadcast made possible by Domino's Pizza of Sterlington. Panther fans, at this time, we're going to step away for the national anthem. We'll take a 2.5-minute break, and then we'll be back for kickoff and first quarter action in just a few moments.
Neither snow-capped mountains nor puddles of water, nor unexpected detours with a 20-foot drainage pipe can stop the ruggedly capable Telluride X Pro from getting you to your dinner reservation on time.
Okay.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Sterlington Rehabilitation Hospital and Rural Health Clinics offers inpatient and outpatient services. And they're now offering LSVT big treatment to those suffering from Parkinson's disease. They're seeing many documented improvements in patients, such as faster walking with bigger steps, improved balance, better movement in the torso, and a reduced risk of falling. They're LSVT big certified. Please come by and see one of their certified clinicians today.
What do you do after an awesome night of Panther football? You bring on the bowling for the 5th quarter. Bayou Bowl is the official 5th quarter sponsor of Sterlington Panther football. Just right down the road and on the right is where you'll find all the 5th quarter action. Yummy snacks and cold drinks from Alligator's Grill is inside Bayou Bowl and open 7 days a week. It's the perfect place to celebrate a Panther victory. So come on, join us at Bayou Bowl after every game for the official 5th quarter. Got a lot of stuff? We've got the space. With 2 convenient locations, let Ashley Storage keep your stuff safe. In Monroe and Sterlington, Ashley Storage is where our customers are treated like family.
Meet Dave. Dave has a problem. He has way too much stuff and not enough room to store it. As Dave searches, he comes across Ashley Storage. Give us a call or check out our website at ashleystorageofsterlington.com.
The law offices of Street and Street, fighting for the injured in Louisiana. When you hire us, you get us. Our clients are represented by one of our seasoned attorneys with over 65 years of experience handling cases in Louisiana. Our goal is simple: to advocate and fight for the rights of the injured. Call today for a consultation, 318-325-4418, Street and Street.
Well, Panther fans, welcome back in. We are set for first quarter action here at Carroll High School. Panthers versus Bulldogs. Sterlington will be kicking off in just a moment. They won the coin toss, deferred to the second half. That coin toss again brought to us by Jim Taylor Chevrolet of Rayville. This first quarter brought to us by Architects Window and Door. Panther fans, you're going to get to enjoy a little Carroll High School marching band right here tonight. We're sitting right with them. And so if you hear Coach Magoo say, huh, Kenny, that's going to be because the drums are right in his ear.
Well, that's not the only reason. I'll be saying.
I tell you what, I do love the environment over here. They do a great job with just a really good environment. These guys do a great job with their band. Of course, Sterlington band's right over there, too. They'll do a great job as well. But it's always a little different when you make the trip down to Carroll.
And that's just not new. It's been that way for years. I was in Neville High School when I grew up. We played games over here, and it was always a loud, great environment.
All right, looks like it will be Jalen Bush to kick it away for the Panthers. Back deep for Carroll. Trying to get a jersey number. Looks like number 5. That'll be Leroy Gaddis. Jalen makes his approach. Be a high kick over towards that far sideline. It will bounce about the 9 and then roll out of bounds right at the 3-yard line. Thought for a moment we had a shot at it. I believe that's Sam Frazier racing down that far sideline.
Yeah, they were real fortunate right there. They let that ball roll out, and it just did find the sideline just inside the 5. If we'd had another second or two, we'd have had a chance to get that football.
So that ball will come out to the 35-yard line, 1st and 10 for Carroll.